There's one story that connects every single one of us, no matter who we are or where we're from. It's the story of how we begin. It is an absolutely astonishing journey of complexity and precision, and it all happens in just the first 9 weeks. So let's dive in.
It really all boils down to this one almost mind-boggling question. How in the world does a single cell, something you can't even see, manage to build a human being, with trillions of cells all working together? This is the fundamental mystery we're going to try and wrap our heads around today.
All right, so our story kicks off like all of our stories do with a single incredible moment, what you might call the spark of life.
So let's meet the star of our show, the zygote. Now, this is not just any old cell. No way. This thing is a biological powerhouse. It's carrying the entire genetic blueprint, literally every single instruction needed to build a person, from the color of your eyes to the complex wiring of your brain.
And from that very first moment, the zygote doesn't waste a second. It immediately kicks off this epic journey, this odyssey of division. It's all about multiplying, and it does it with incredible speed and purpose.
The pace here is just wild. 1 cell becomes 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8. And this isn't random copying and pasting, oh no. This is like a perfectly choreographed dance. After just a few days, you get this tiny little ball of cells called the morula, which then hollows itself out to become something called the blastocyst. And that's when it's ready for its next big move.
The journey is far from over. This little cluster of cells is now on the move. It has a mission. It's traveling, looking for a safe place to anchor down so it can get the nourishment it desperately needs to keep growing. Okay, so around day 9, we hit a moment that is absolutely critical. It's a real make-or-break event called implantation. The blastocyst has to successfully embed itself into the uterine wall. Think of it like plugging in a device. Without establishing that lifeline, that vital connection, well, the journey just stops right there.
All right, now that it's found a home and plugged in, this is where things get really interesting. Up to this point, all the cells have been pretty much identical, but that is all about to change. This is the moment when the fundamental blueprint for the entire body gets drawn up.
Think about it like this. In the beginning, you basically just have a pile of raw building materials, right? You've got bricks, wood, wires, tons of potential, but it's still just a pile. Then, this amazing process called differentiation kicks in. Suddenly, those materials get their assignments. The bricks start forming walls, the wood becomes floors, and those generic cells get their orders to become heart cells or brain cells or skin cells.
And this next stage of getting organized, well, it's so ridiculously important that the biologist Louis Wolpert famously said it's the most important time in your life. He was talking about a process with a fancy name, gastrulation.
So during gastrulation, the cells arrange themselves into these 3 foundational layers. You've got the ectoderm, the outer skin, which is going to form your entire nervous system and your skin. Then there's the mesoderm, the middle skin, which is destined to become your skeleton, your muscles, and your heart. And finally, the endoderm, or inner skin, which forms your lungs, your liver, all those internal organs. Isn't that amazing? Every single piece of you starts right here, in one of these 3 layers.
Okay, the blueprint is done. The layers are set. Now it's time to actually start building. The architectural plans are officially being put to use to construct the very first working systems of the body.
So what's the very first thing that gets built? The command center, of course. Part of that ectoderm layer folds in on itself and creates what's called the neural tube. And that tube is the very beginning of the brain and the spinal cord. It makes perfect sense, right? You build the control system before you build all the machinery it's going to have to run. Now, I want you to just focus on this number for a second. Day 22. We're just a little over 3 weeks since this whole thing began. And something truly extraordinary is about to happen. On this day, a tiny little tube of muscle cells, which is the primitive heart, gives its very first beat. It starts a rhythm, a pulse that hopefully will continue for a lifetime. This is it, the first drumbeat of a new life. It's a real, tangible sign that these developing systems are officially up and running.
So as we get to the end of this incredible first chapter, this embryonic period, an unbelievable foundation has been laid. I mean, in just a handful of weeks, the entire groundwork for a human being is basically complete.
Let's just do a quick rewind, because this sprint is just wild when you see it all laid out. We go from a single cell on day 1 to being plugged in and ready to grow on day 9.
By week 3, the whole body plan is set, and the heart is already beating. And by the end of week 8, get this, every major organ system, the brain, the lungs, the liver, has begun to form. The blueprint is now a physical thing.
I mean, just think about that. It's a process so complex, it's almost impossible to imagine, and it's all executed with near-perfect precision, in less time than it takes to binge-watch a season of your favorite show. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. When you think about this journey from one cell to a complete human blueprint in under 9 weeks, what does this biological masterpiece tell us about the sheer, incredible potential that's packed into life itself?